You are now listening to the new Old Heads podcast, premiered every Thursday at noon Eastern Standard Time at bringdowntheband.com, and brought to you by No Bad Ideas, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, and Sun King Brewery. Support the new Old Heads by visiting our Patreon at patreon.com/newoldheads.
You're now tuned in to the new Old Heads podcast. I am Major 7th. Entire crew is here. Episode 219. This is the first one of the year 2021. So welcome back, everybody. Got people in the chat. The whole crew is here. Place of Indianapolis, aka Kansas City Mac. Man, Jay Moore, how are you, sir?
Doing well. You know, it's the first everything of 2021. Hope everybody had a good New Year's, whether you brought it in at home or maybe socially distancing with a few friends and family. But I'm just glad everybody's safe, and here we go for the new year.
Sir, yes, sir. Left of him, Jay Diff. What's happening, man?
Salutations. What's going on, Michael?
Oh man, I can't complain. New year, new starts. Hope everything
was
is
major.
It was
your New Year major?
Oh man, it was very lackluster. Actually, it was very controlled. Well, I ain't gonna say lackluster. In a small, controlled environment, not doing too much of anything. Trying to stay safe and stay out the way. That was the play.
Word.
Oh.
Yeah, I was at the crib. Chilling.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I from bringing down the band headquarters with my lamp resides. My man Lonegevity. How are you, sir?
Yeah, again, it's my lamp. But yeah, doing all right. Cannot complain.
To see you as always, brother. Did you do anything unique for New Year's or just same old, stay out the way?
No, I didn't do anything at all, actually.
Okay.
And I've been a little bit under the weather, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I've been staying out of the way. But yeah. I mean, I don't care to do stuff like that anyway. I'm not a New Year's celebration type person, so it's all good.
Feel you. Okay,
But
I
yeah.
can dig it. Shout out to the chat. I see Eric in here. The homie Eric is here. He says Mike is a host hater. He doesn't like Nori, Vlad, Joe Budden, or Wallow. Whatever, man. I fool with Joe Budden and Wallow. I like Nori except for when his teeth almost fall out. He talk too much, but Drink Champs is still dope for the culture, so I ain't mad at that. Vlad can kick rocks, so you were almost right. You got some of it right. But we appreciate
He's
the
just a
chat.
hater. He's not a host hater. He's just a hater overall.
I feel you. Always like how you spoke your mind. Speak your mind, brother. Whatever makes you happy.
You know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
New
sir.
year, but not a new me.
Nothing's changed.
Same OG.
Yes, sir. We're going to continue to do this. Before we get started, real quick, let me squeeze in. I think we talked about it in the chat, but if we got new people here, very curious if everybody saw 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗧 album cover. Now, don't want this to spill over because we can talk about this for a whole hour. I just need to know in the chat if you saw 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗧's Tarzan album cover. Is that what it's called? Tarzan?
That's what it is. Tarzan. I want to say TARRZAN, or it may be TARZANN.
First of all,
it's monkey regardless. Literally.
Yeah. Yin and the yang, you know what I'm saying? The pillage, all of that, I'm with it. You know, Cap is my dude, Winter Wars, Legendary, all of that. This ain't it. This is not it. I'm sorry.
I had no idea when you shared this in the Discord, Terry, I had no idea what this was. I was like, all right. Until somebody said it was actually 𝗀𝗲𝗄𝗧's album cover. I was like, what?
Hey,
yeah, man.
The Wallies is clean. You know, the outfit, I'm cool with all of that. The watch, hip hop, B-boy stance, I'm with all of that. But this is terrible. This is really bad. This is bad. I'm sorry, man. No, and I know you're trying to put
it's funny because it say TARRZAN. It's probably another N, but what if it was like Zane, like Maine?
That's kind of, I thought it was like
Tarzan. What if it's Tarzan with a D at the end?
When
That'd be
Microsoft
stupid.
Paint first came out?
I did not tell y'all Paint in the pre-show. I swear this is Paint.
What that album, based off the album cover, what's the album gonna sound like?
He gonna be spitting. I don't know about the production. I don't know. You know, this tells me the production might not be there. based off the
on
other
all
album cover.
formats. It's not there
Dude, Big Bear.
musically.
Yeah, man.
Big Bear is amazing compared to this.
Listen, man, the elk in the bottom corner, is that an elk? I don't know. I'm just guessing. Deer, elk, whatever. That ain't it.
Might as well be.
Lion ain't it. The eagle is not it. Bear is like he's
I'm
about
shitty
to
though.
strike him is not it.
Chilling
This
in
ain't
the
it.
middle. He's chilling in the middle of the forest with that clean ass sweater on with some
The
Wallies.
sweater clean. The Wallies is clean.
With a half of a lion face. When you ever see a lion in the forest?
Hey, man, shouts to that eagle. You know,
Hey, the eagle. Hey,
Yeah,
I
the
will
eagle
say this.
belong in the forest. Everybody
Low-key.
belong in the forest except for that lion.
Okay, though, the eagle's wing is behind the lion. I will say that. So they ain't just put the shit together. Like they took care of that part.
Oh no, they threw this together.
Yeah,
No, it looked like
together.
he had decided to play Altered Beast on Sega Genesis and was like, hey,
Altered
let's put something
Beast.
together real quick.
Altered Beast. Hey,
Yes.
I'm with the outfit.
Hey.
Everything about the outfit is good money, but I'm cool on the what you call it, the Mounds Park look, man. That like the park at the crib in Anderson. Like he just went to the park.
Yeah.
That ain't it. So
I'm copping Tarzan as soon as it dropped.
yeah, I'm gonna still listen to it though, cause I fool with Cap. Yeah, I respect the OG, but I'm cool on that album cover. I am cool.
Terrence
See,
Howard, you know how Chris Rock was featured through the segments on Busta's joint.
Yeah.
This one gonna have Terrence Howard commenting on through the middle of
It bet not.
Tarzan.
It bet not. Bet not, man. I'm just telling you. I
Tarzan, man.
wanted to be Tarzan with a D on the end. That'd make my year. It was Tarzan.
It's Tarzan.
Tarzan, man.
He gonna be on the in the little time about, you threw my tape in the toilet, man. You threw the Tarzan tape in the toilet, man.
Man, I'm cool. I am cool, but we love the bars, Cap, and I will listen. I'm gonna do my due diligence, but production ain't gonna be it based off this album cover. That is my guess. I hope I'm wrong. All right, man. Let's go ahead and jump into today's rundown. So, I thought this one was interesting. Charlamagne was being interviewed, and he said he thinks that the Drake era has ended. He said, I don't know if he has another gear. He said, Drake has given us so much music that I don't know if he has another gear. We know Kendrick has another gear. He shows us that with every project. Drake has given us so much, I don't know if he has that another gear. So therefore, I'm not looking forward to anything. Let me ask y'all a question. Are we still in the Drake era? So I'll toss it around to y'all because I personally think, and I'll just say my answer first. I do not think the Drake era is over because he has crossover appeal and has crossover success. So everything that he does is not predicated on hip hop. So I do not think the Drake era as an artist is over. I just think it might take a shift. It might go in another direction. It's just my personal opinion because he has too many crossover records that work. Now, the last few joints he's put out, they haven't hit like they normally do. I still think he's going to be able to, dominate the charts, be in the clubs whenever that happens again. And I think his fan base is going to be around. So I don't think it's quite over yet. Hey, Diff, what are your thoughts on that, man? Is it over?
I honestly don't think it is, man. It just he's got a formula down. That did y'all hear echo?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, his formula is pretty much set in stone and it's worked for him the past 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really see him slowing down. Even the song he has out now with Durk is all over the radio with no club really in full effect right now other than Atlanta and Florida, Miami or whatnot. But I can kind of see people getting maybe a little bit tired of hearing Drake, but Drake is able to kind of morph and switch styles. Like you said, he can jump around different genres and keep it moving. Now, being a dominant force may change, you know what I'm saying? I mean, he's one of those artists now, like, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's almost like with a Mike or a Prince, you know what I'm saying? Whenever they dropped, it didn't really matter People were gonna check for it. It didn't really need a whole lot of pub or anything like that. I mean, he's just at that level in his career now, and that's good for him. But I don't necessarily see him falling off. Maybe calling it the Drake era, saying that's over like that. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can kind of see that, but other than that, I don't really see him falling off, to be honest with you.
Because I'm hearing it's a little baby. I'm hearing Lil Baby has stepped in and assumed that position. That's what I'm hearing.
I mean, it's too early to call that. I mean, you gotta give credit where credit is due. You got somebody that's been around 10 years strong. I mean, there's a lot of other artists you can put in the same conversation, and have they dominated the same way? Have they stayed on the radio? Have they stayed in rotation? So you can't really say that for him, because he's only been around what, 2 years, maybe 2-3 years
strong, probably 2 or 3 years strong.
Well, I mean, it's
no, 2 or 3 years in the mainstream as a whole. I have to check. I know he's dropped a few tapes, but
it's a little premature.
It ain't like that.
To
your point,
though.
Okay, I could dig it. What you think, Jay Moore? Is it a rap? Is it will it look different? Or
not even close.
Not even close. Okay,
not even close. You know, like I said, I have a different perspective. I've seen Drake dominate pretty much for the last 10 years. Radio, the club, there, you know, the street. You know, he's had Drake still is the guy that if he gets on your record, that record is going to be a single. You know, and it's
going to work.
They showed something today to where, you know, when they do all the statistics and wrap ups and like, oh, what was the number one this number one that, Drake is still the most streamed artist in overall. I mean, people say, oh, it's Little Baby's turn or Da Baby's turn or whoever. Like those people got a long way to go. Like Drake is like 10 summers strong.
Exactly.
You know, whether it be features, like last year he put out an album of his throwaways, and it still was through the roof. You know, I'm trying to even think of a time in my time working in the clubs where Drake didn't have something, whether it be a feature, you know, whether it be one of his cuts. You know,
gotta go a long way back.
You know, Young Money. Young Money's not even a thing anymore, but Drake is still a thing. You know,
right?
So when and first of all, like, his new album's supposed to come out
this month.
What, in a couple months, if not this month? So like, for Charlamagne to say, oh, the Drake era is over, you might be calling it way too soon, because like if this album comes out and has a few bangers on it, like, and the thing is, Drake's songs come out and they stay in the club. Like I remember Back to Back, which was a diss song.
This record, yeah.
That record banged out for like a year, and people would sing along with it. I just don't think it's too early to call. Like if this next album comes out and it doesn't connect with the culture, and maybe I could see it. Someone saying like, you know, that era is over, because I can tell you when Nicki's era was over. I can tell you when Wayne's era was over. But Drake's era is definitely not over.
I don't think so either. I still think there's some meat left on the bone there. Lone, I know you listen to a lot of Drake. What you think?
Yeah, he's still heavy in rotation.
Yes, sir.
I don't think so. I don't think it's over. And I don't. I feel like somebody would have to come and take his place, maybe.
Yeah.
Or and I don't feel like anybody. Well, or maybe nobody has to, but I don't feel like anybody has taken his place or has reached Drake's level since Drake. So, like, even if you think of like how big the Migos were for a few years, like, where are they right now? You know what I mean? Drake has kind of surpassed them. You know, I think before Drake,
they're trying to get on a Baby song right now.
See, so, but I don't think the Baby or Lil Baby, I don't think they're I believe that was Terry's point. I don't believe that they have put in enough work to be on Drake's level. And regardless of how big they are right now, time will tell, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
But when you think of Drake, you think of Kanye West, you think of Jay-Z, you think of Lil Wayne in the 2000s. And those are really huge names in those eras. So,
yeah.
maybe it's starting to tail off, maybe, but I haven't seen it. I haven't seen him slow down, I guess. Like, not in the sense of, like, if he wants to drop something, it's going to be big. You know what I mean? So, and he hasn't had that record that's been like, wow, this is trash. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he's still there.
And more made the
He's
point
also
about
one of those artists too that you were anticipating his first release. Like So Far Gone was technically a mixtape. You know, he came from the mixtape era. So after that, when you knew he was grouped with Lil Wayne and Young Money and whatnot, people anticipated that release. So he's one of those artists. Generally, the artists that you anticipate the release from like that, and it goes on to be successful, whether it's in music or not, they tend to stay successful. I mean, when you think about it, think of like 50 Cent. He was one of those artists. Snoop Dogg was one of those artists. Who else? Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? Those type artists where their debut album was anticipated and lived up to that name generally don't fade, whether you mess with them musically or not. You know what I'm saying? It's just he definitely capitalized on his. I will say that because a couple of the people I named in there, Drake. Because whether you like every album that he's dropped or not, he stayed consistent. You can't really say he had a complete dud. There are some artists that had complete duds.
You could talk the crossover. I talk it all the time, but the boy got a pen when he need to have a pen. So I think that gives him, extends his life a little bit too, because he can easily, so many types of records that he does. You know, it's not primarily just hip hop. Hip hop can be done with you, but you that versatile, man. You can slide into other avenues. I just think a little premature to talk that.
What about this question? Has there been another Drake caliber artist that has emerged since Drake? I mean, I would argue Kendrick, but has there been anybody else that has sustained it and kept it?
Kendrick's not as Kendrick.
J. Cole, maybe.
Kendrick,
not even close.
I don't think Kendrick or Drake. I think Kendrick or Drake. I don't think Kendrick or J. Cole have been as big as Drake at any point.
Not as big. Definitely not as big. But as far as popularity, I would say they're probably closer in popularity than any of the other artists.
Okay.
I definitely think Cole's up there. I think Cole's up there. And I think Kendrick's higher than Cole, but
definitely.
But I do think Drake does reach a completely different
thing. Drake he puts out music on a much more consistent basis. I mean, there's no denying that. You know, like I said, Drake has held you down for, like, you know, that used to be Jay-Z's thing, you know, held you down for 6 summers, man. Like, Drake has held you down since Best I Ever Had came out. He's had something popping in the summertime, you know, and that's not, look, this business is so fickle. He's done features for people whose careers have started, apexed, and are over with now. And he's still out here doing it, you know. And the crazy thing, when I heard Charlamagne say it, and the thing is, Charlamagne and I are both the same age, vastly different places as far as the media landscape, but you know, because he's through the stratosphere. But you know,
we moving up though. We moving.
For lack of a better term, he's not outside. You know, I you know, for somebody my age, I'm still outside way more than, you know, like Charlotte. You know, he's got 3 kids, a family, and, you know, a wife, a house, all these businesses. Like, he shouldn't be in the club all the time. You know, whether, you know, even to get paid, like, you know, he's getting money from so many other places. He don't have to do walkthrough, all that fly shit. But like, I still hear what moves the people. That's why when I say, okay, this isn't working, this artist is not as big as you think they are, like, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Lil Baby, don't get me wrong, Lil Baby, like, he's had a great year, and, you know, I've heard his voice over the last couple, maybe 2.5 years, maybe close to 3, you know, but it hasn't been what it is this year. He did have the biggest selling record this year, but, you know, I mean, this is a weird year to have the biggest selling top gross anything. I mean, the biggest grossing movie was Bad Boys for Life. You know, I don't think anybody saw that. So it's just a weird year as far as numbers are concerned. You know, because I think a lot of people held on. A lot of people held on to material just because it's like, okay, we're not outside like that. You know, you're
I
not
think,
going to. It's not that. That's
I think Kendrick has.
I
think
Kendrick
Kendrick's
has
been
what?
consistent. I think Kendrick's been as
Oh, yeah.
consistent since he dropped. And I think he's due to drop. But I think he's the only person that I can think of that could potentially be in that category.
yeah. The world
right
stops
now,
when Kendrick drops.
Kendrick is like, Kendrick reminds me of Outkast. Like Outkast would, every time they drop, you didn't know which bag they were going to be in. You knew the quality level was going to be there. They took their time with their projects. Like he reminds me of them because every time Outkast dropped, I remember being like, all right, what they going to do next? What direction are they going to go in now? You think about the Kid Mad City, and then there was a left turn for To Pimp a Butterfly. And then he doubled back with Damn. So who knows what the next one is going to be like. So yeah, Kendrick is definitely up there, but that crossover pop, you know, that just kind of takes Drake that next half tier. So I don't know, man. We'll see. I'd be curious to hear what the album sounds like. I know it's going to sell. It's going to move units. People are going to check it out. There are people that are patiently waiting. So, you know, I'll see. Let me go to next topic here. Let me check on the chat and see who's in here real quick before we go. E, I see you. David, what's going on, sir? I think CAD. Boy, CAD was in earlier. Yep, I see him. Shout out to my Midwest fam, CAD, but he's East Coast family now. Appreciate you, brother. Let's go ahead and go into.
I need to know your order ahead of time, by the way.
Did I skip around? Sorry.
You're skipping.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah.
Am I skipping?
Yeah.
My apologies, sir. I forgot to ask you and confirm which way we were going to go. So,
Where we going?
Hold on, real quick before we move on. I just seen this in the chat. So, and I have to respectfully disagree with you.
oh
He
Lord,
said Kendrick has one more year before he is Jay Electronica. That is
What?
cap.
who said that?
There's no way he falls into that.
Wait a minute.
For
Who's-
one, Kendrick has literally given you 3 classic albums.
At least. It's got a mixtape that's classic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
he did.
4. Let's say 4.
Nah, I got to disagree
Shout out
with
to
you,
Naughty
CAD.
Pie too. CAD, you got to chill, bro. You got to chill on that
Yeah.
one, man. That
Nah, man.
ain't it. That's not it. Just off the fact that he's giving us classic material, they're not in the same conversation. Fam don't even
They're not.
put product
Mm-mm.
out. Let's not do that now.
I mean, he
Nah.
dissed Jay Electronica on his throwaway album.
Yeah, man.
Untitled joint.
Exhibit A and
So yeah, nah.
all
I
that's
can't
still
agree with
cold.
you on that one.
It's been 4 years. What's been 4? See, I
Well,
don't
the
want to
thing
get back
about
and forth.
the thing about it is too, and then we can move on. Unfortunately, we live in an era where, like back in the day, 4 years was considered the amount of time. 3 to 4 years was considered the amount of time you're supposed to wait before you actually put out an album. Maybe 2. You know what I'm
I'd
saying?
say two. I'd say
2 to 3.
2
maybe.
to 3.
But I mean, considering what's been going on out here and things of that nature, I honestly don't think that Kendrick is nowhere near in the same ball game as a Jay Electronica. We waited 10 years for one album from Jay Electronica, and it's a good album. I ain't no front. But
Ain't 10 years good.
It's not
10 years good.
So we're talking about Drake, who's been in the game 10 years, and how consistent he is, versus a cat that dropped one album in 10 years. And you can't compare that to a Kendrick Lamar, who's literally giving you 3-4 classic and has toured and has been greatly successful. So yeah, I have to respectfully disagree with you on that one.
CAD, cut it out, man.
His last album had like a couple year run too. Like people were still playing it heavy for.
Cut that out,
Yeah, Kendrick's
CAD.
still getting played.
Yeah, cut that out, brother. You know better than that. Knock it off. You could cut that all the way out. We ain't even go down that road. Let's see. Lone, my apologies, by the way.
What road are we going down right now?
Let's what road did I have second? Oh, okay. I had Doom second.
Okay.
And
Do that.
so I guess I don't know what day. I have to pull it up on the day that was announced, but you know, it's crazy that we
31st.
31st. Yep, it was the day before New Year's. Yep, and it's crazy that we coming off the year that we're coming off of, and you know, shout out to Dr. Dre, prayers to him, because they say he's in the hospital, and a way to start a year off, but a way to end it even worse is hearing that MF Doom passed away. I believe he had passed away in October, if I'm not mistaken, but the family chose to keep it
October
private.
31st.
Yeah, if I read correctly. So, and that, that's, they perfectly have the right to do that. So I'm not mad at that. To each his own, how you want to grieve. Talk about a way to end a year, just craziness. And, we've talked about, Terry. I think Terry has been kind of along the same path as me. I wasn't necessarily the hugest fan. I always used to say I was asleep. And it's not out of from a disrespect standpoint. It's just I wasn't aware. I wasn't on game like a lot of my friends were. But that still doesn't mean that I don't understand and acknowledge the legendary status of him and what he meant to the culture, especially from the underground scene and the work that he's done. Like, you never hear anybody say anything negative about dude's product. Like, it's always been legendary status. And this is from all different types of hip hop people showing him love, because he put in the work and he's been involved with the culture for so long. So that's a big L, man. That's a big loss for hip hop, man, because when you talk about these people that have the cult followings, and we talk about the Tech Nines and people like that, like, he's times 10 of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy when you get back and look at it. So condolences to his family, man, because that's definitely a big loss, you know what I'm saying, for the culture. And even I'm starting to see now that some of his fans, and I've noticed this, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but a lot of his fans, and this is on OK Player, are they're pissed off because of the hype beast vibes that are starting to go on his products. Like, now, a vinyl was 30 bones, it's going for $700 now. You know what I'm saying? And I've seen a few posts where people are talking about, people speaking on him that didn't listen to him, and that conversation's coming up, and it's just a lot of stuff that's been swirling around him passing away. But I did read this article, man. Some of this stuff, $730, $800, for $30, $24 joints, man. So, just a lot of fan reaction overall on that. So I'll just throw it around. Lone, I'll come to you first, because you've actually been one of those people that tried to get me in line to put me on game, and I just wasn't, receptive to it as I should be. I'm gonna have to do my homework now. But what are your thoughts, man, on him passing away?
I think he passed away, and it was announced in a very MF Doom fashion.
Okay.
He passed away on a day that everybody wears masks. You know what I mean? His family held on to it and decided that they weren't going to let it go until the end of the year. It's also a very Doom thing to do. You guys remember the story of the Doom posters from the early 2010s, where he had people show up to shows and with the mask on. That wasn't even him. And, Doom was somebody that really kind of did his own thing and kind of bent and changed all the rules. And there's nobody like Doom at all. Like, there was nobody like Doom. And so, he changed from being he was in a group in the early 90s, KMD, I believe was the name.
KMD.
Mm-hmm.
And, he had rapped with people, there's lots of old school pictures of him with pictures, like with artists that you know of. And, then he kind of reinvented his style with the mask. His production style was unique. His rhyming style was even more unique, to the point to where, like, I wasn't the hugest fan of his rhyme, like, delivery, but the way that he said words was one of a kind, and he was an amazing lyricist, like, absolutely amazing lyricist. I think his delivery is what throws most people off a lot of times.
It's what threw me off.
But if you can get past that and you can focus on, like, how he's saying things and the clever ways he's saying them, it's like he was amazing. He was absolutely amazing. So Doom isn't somebody that I personally paid attention to as heavy as a lot of Doom heads. But I will say that he continually dropped music with the most random people, and still was putting out material. He's worked with young cats. I mean, there's a video that was floating around of, like, Tyler the Creator and Earl Sweatshirt, like, getting extra hype like rapping
Loved
all the
it.
words to something when
Yeah,
just
loved
when
it.
Odd Future was first coming out, you know, it just came out, or Flying Lotus just shared that him and Doom were working on a collaborative project. You know, like he's got so much respect from underground hip hop heads and underground hip hop musicians that it's like it's completely undeniable. And he is an absolute one of one, you know. So I mean, you know, that's what I'll say. Again, like I'm not the most uber super Doom fan ever, but he does have his records. I had a chance to sit down with Daedalus a few years ago when he came to Indianapolis. You know, we were there at the Hi-Fi, and I talked to him about Doom and the song Accordion and where that came from and how Daedalus was a part of it. You know, he dropped some stuff that I don't know if anybody even knew. And how that came about. So that got me even more, you know, hip to just the different worlds that Doom was like into. So, yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and pass it to you guys, but there's no denying MF Doom. It was sad to see that he had passed, but he did seem to, the way it was released was in a very Doom-esque manner, in my opinion. So,
got it. I can dig it. Jay Diff, jump in.
I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, man, because like you said before, I'm not one of those cats that was really into Doom like that. And I'm not gonna sit there in front and be like I was.
Right. Me neither.
But his impact and influence was definitely felt. I was more familiar with Doom when he was in KMD, coming up watching like Yo MTV Raps and that track Peach Fuzz, you know what I'm saying? That I was more hip to him back then than after he became the figure known as Doom. But definitely condolences to MF Doom, and it is crazy how they're gouging his material on records and things like that. But I mean that generally happens every time somebody passes. You had the people that come out the blue that said they crazy supported this artist and can't name you 2 tracks from them. You know, it's always gonna be that same thing going on. But to Lone's point, when you talk about how he was able to flip and spin words, isn't that the same thing that people say about like an Eminem, and people still don't fuck with him like that, or a lot of like super hard and hip hop heads don't really give Eminem his props? Ain't that kind of the same?
Never thought about it like
Similar,
that.
similar, but I think the fact that I think just what Doom was rooted in, you know, like Eminem's super technical, but he's almost got like I don't know how to compare the two. Doom stuff is more funny. And the entendres are, and then again, Eminem's stuff is the same, but Eminem's is almost like extra polished, and Doom's is like just kind of like him, like organic feeling, maybe. I don't know.
That's interesting because I know they both are word twisters and are really good at putting shit together. That's the reason why I asked, because you know you have people that are super MF Doom fans, but they can't stand Eminem. So I would just wonder.
I think it's probably beats, and it's just the fact that, to me, I think M is a lot more corny than what Doom was. Like, Doom didn't really come off corny to me. He just was like weird. You know what I mean? Eminem's not really weird. Well, I guess
from what I've heard from MF Doom, the one thing that is not whack is that production. Now Eminem, you know, there's some sketchy production there once you get past the Dre stuff, and he started producing a lot of that dark stuff. But one thing about, from what I've heard, the sample size, the production from MF Doom was cold, so it definitely ain't had nothing to do with that. Jay Moore, jump in.
Well, you know, the thing about Doom is he had, for the time he was out, and for as much as he just moved around, if you will, and for all the mystery behind him, he had a pretty solid catalog. You know, when you're talking about Mad Villainy and Danger Doom, and you know, look, anybody that can keep up with, you know, my personal favorite MC, Ghostface Killer, you know, and share the stage with him, and you know, and be outside of the Wu-Tang camp, you know, I mean, he had love for me just based on that. But also I was a fan of, like I said, taking it back to KMD, of when he was 𝗀𝗱
There we go.
First time hearing him on Third Base's the Gas Face, the second single off of their first album. And then, of course, Peach Fuzz was a song that was on Yo MTV Raps in pretty heavy rotation. That's the sort of thing that you could see on MTV back in the day. And the second album, there was always this mystique behind the second KMD album, Black Bastards, partially because it was shelved, for a controversy based on
the album art,
just the name, the album cover. And the thing is, this was the time where, of course you had your controversial rap acts, but then of course, on your second album, their executives are like, okay, how can we take this to the next level? What can we get to do for the radio? And like, they're like, we can't sell this, like, regardless of its quote unquote artistic merit. And they just weren't trying to get it. And so the album became shelved for several years. I remember when I first got to college in '95, there was apparently somebody on campus who, it was like a big deal that they had like a bootleg of the second KMD album, and people were like, oh man, how can I get that? And I never wound up being able to finagle my way into hearing it then. It was released a few years ago.
Artwork is crazy, by the way.
On the streaming and the DSPs, but if you had heard the legend of KMD's second album, Black Bastards, like, it is available now. But of course, if they're physical copies or whatever, it might be going for crazy prices now. That
my god, yeah.
I love Doom and all this, and I've always been a fan, and like that just happens every single time. The same way, like, I remember I talked about trends I want to not happen anymore in 2021, is like, I don't want all of a sudden people to be all excited about rappers after they die, like whether it be Doom, whether it be oh gosh, Pop Smoke, or we talked about it even with Nipsey. Like, there were people like, yo, these artists were dope when they're alive, but you didn't have time for them.
It was bad. It was real bad with Nipsey.
Like, no, so and I didn't listen to any, the radio. I usually don't listen to the radio. I usually just listen to podcasts and sports talk, but I'm glad I didn't, because I would hate for some jock to be like, hey, Dr. Doom died over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I just feel like that's the sort of thing that happens, because they don't know. And you have a bunch of card readers, and I come from radio. I'm not trying to diss radio, but a lot of these like program directors, these people are not into hip hop anyway. They're people my age who haven't been to a concert since the late 20s, or they'll only play something if it's got an R&B hook on it. So a lot of these people who work at hip hop radio stations don't even like hip hop like that. And or they're just out of the demographic, or even when they were in the demographic, they were like, this isn't a hit. So shout out to Doom and his family. It's just kind of crazy. Like, I'm telling you, the fact that he died 2 months ago and we just found out, that's crazy. The most MF Doom shit ever. So
Lone hit the nail on the head with that. Y'all would know better than me. Like, it's just crazy how that came about, man. But
it was so secretive, man. It was so secretive.
What if
like,
he ain't really did though?
It was his wife. It was his wife that shared it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna rock with the family on that one.
But right. I thought that originally. I was like, this is real, right? This isn't a Doom thing. Like,
I'm looking at some of the comments in the chat. Eric said, even if you're not,
I was gonna say, even like, I think the cool one more thing real quick is like, a lot of people found out about Doom because of Adult Swim.
Mm-hmm.
He was like such a cult following that he had. But anyways.
We got Eric said, even if you're not an MF Doom fan, you can't deny his influence. David said Doom was a dope producer. CAD said, he couldn't even find one. He said it's tough. He couldn't. I'm thinking it's in regards to the wax. He said, and the shoes, they're crazy expensive. Let's see. rhymes
That's part of it. That's
rap.
kind of part of it. Man. You
Shout-
kind of expect that at this point, you know, like
Yeah.
people going to try
Yeah.
to get that come up on that investment. And
No, for sure.
Yeah, I mean that happens with everything. I mean, when Kobe passed, his shoes was crazy expensive and still are.
Jerseys
You know what
and
I'm
jerseys and all that. Shout out to CAD with the concert at the Congress. I was actually there that night, and I do remember people saying they thought it was an imposter because I think it was him and Nas on the bill that night.
Oh, so you was there?
I was there, and remember hearing people say that. I'm like, is this a thing? Does this guy do this? Because I wasn't that familiar with him, and everybody was like, take the mask off, take the mask off. I remember seeing that, and it makes more sense now.
well, he was mad late to that show too, right?
Yep.
Because I
Super
remember Psalm 1 actually shared a story recently in the last couple months about being asked to perform a couple extra songs at that because he hadn't shown up yet. And it being like, like afraid of shit being thrown at her, you know, and just because it wasn't Doom yet. So he did a few of these.
To the Congress
he did a few of these though, didn't he?
So what?
There were a few like
the shows?
concerts where it was like the Doom Imposter, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I didn't realize it was a thing, but like the Congress is a huge theater in Chicago that's gutted, like all the seats are out on the floor level and all that. So, and the place was packed, and like people started booing because they were like, he's an imposter, and he wouldn't take the mask off. So to this day, I still don't know. Like I couldn't tell.
So did he usually take his mask off when he performed?
No.
That I don't know. I don't think he did.
No,
from what I'm hearing, but that night people were screaming for him to take it off because they thought it was an imposter. So I definitely remember that, and that makes more sense now. So
is that the same place that you did the that Scribble Jam battle at?
Scribble Jam was over by a live one. So that's
okay.
This is more. I think this is more west. But nah, man, I remember that. So salute to him, man. Rest in peace. He is definitely done more than enough for hip hop and will continue to live on because people are still keeping his legacy alive. So, you know, shout out to him, rest in peace, and again, condolences to his family. Let's shout out our partners real quick before we go into our last topic. You good with that, Long?
Yep.
We'd like to thank our partners for the new Old Heads podcast. No Bad Ideas Clothing Company, Coleman Dental, Printfinity, Indie CD and Vinyl, Sun King Brewery, and the hub for all things New Old Heads, bringingdowntheband.com. Remember, once you type Bringing Down the Band in the search bar on YouTube and the page populates, subscribe and hit the bell for notifications. And as always, we thank you for your support. Now back to the show. All right, shout out our partners. As always, we appreciate them for all they do for us. And, you know, we have some that's been rocking with us since day one, and we've acquired some new ones, but you know, we show love to all of the partners that we have, so we really appreciate them. All right, let's get into the last topic here before we ride out. And I saw this on a site called the College Fix. Headline says hip hop professor, angry white rappers unpopular now due to Trump's constant anger. So the professor's name is A.D. Carson and was doing an interview for The Guardian. He is a professor of hip hop at the University of Virginia. And he says that, let's see, angry white rappers, let's see, here we go. I'll make sure I read it right. He says angry white rappers in the mode of Eminem are suffering waning popularity because audiences already get their fill of white rage on a daily basis in the White House. He goes on to speak about certain things that apply to white rappers. Knock it off, man. That apply to white rappers as well. He says Carson also argues that the genre roaming of white artists such as Post Malone and G-Eazy is an extension of their white privilege. With the white rappers and artists, it is much easier to shift into new sounds than it is for black artists. He says it's something we've been seeing since Pink and Miley Cyrus. And he goes on to detail about them and the black R&B sound. And you know, if you want to go culture vulture, if you want, I've heard that Sometimes Iggy Azalea's name pops up, things of that nature. But what do you guys think about this? Is it a direct correlation? Could you guys see that in terms of what he's talking about? Lone, I'm coming to you first on this one. What do you think about this, man? And I'm not coming to you for any other reason than I think you have a good answer. So jump in, sir.
Shit.
Is he far off on this, or is this a reach?
I don't know. There might be some merit to it. I think that the thing that kind of made me chuckle a little bit was that they're getting their angry white feel from the president. I mean, I don't know if that's
White
I mean,
race.
maybe.
Yeah.
Like, I want to know who's the author of this. Who is the author?
All right. So the author is.
What's his ethnicity?
Let me see if I can find who wrote it. I'm scrolling down. They usually have the name of the person that wrote it. College Fix staff. It says College Fix staff, so it's not the person that wrote this is not named.
I don't think that a lot of what they said is necessarily too far off. We've talked about on this show about white artists that cross genres because they can.
Mm-hmm.
I do think that it is a form of white privilege to an extent, but I feel like it becomes a form of white privilege not when you cross genres, but when you capitalize off of hip hop culture based upon your whiteness. So
There we go.
but yeah, we've been seeing this for decades. This is not anything new. This is not anything new at all. As far as angry white rappers,
That's what I want to hear you talk about.
I don't listen to angry white rappers very often.
Do you think the white
one.
rappers are? Do you think people are angry at the white rappers because they're angry at Trump? Is that even feasible?
I think it's possible for a white
Okay.
rapper right now to feel like maybe he or she would have to be a little bit more delicate with the content range and how they share stuff because of their lack of understanding of maybe certain cultural issues related to hip hop. Because we do have in hip hop culture, there are a lot of white people that just rap that don't have a lot of understanding of hip hop culture. And so those people that may not have an understanding of hip hop culture, they may be a little bit more tentative right now and afraid to maybe say the things that they would usually, or,
Okay.
and I have seen this in the last 6 to 8 months. I've seen a couple times where you see like the Southern rappers, or like the Confederate flag rappers,
The hip hop.
the hip hop and stuff like that. It's like that's a blanket. I mean, that is that's appropriation, I guess.
Yeah.
If you could call it that. I mean, I guess there's merit to it. It's just a weird conversation. I don't know. Are they more unpopular now? If they are, that's great. Because I mean, I'm not interested. I mean, me personally,
who really cares about or was really into the angry white rappers per se? You know what I'm saying? I mean, the only one I can really think
white
of.
people.
Well, that doesn't really count then.
I know.
No
right?
offense.
No, I know. That's why it's a weird statement to me. It's like
It's a very interesting. It's a weird conversation. Go ahead, Jay Diff.
I mean, it's for one, I don't understand the whole correlation with Trump and angry white rappers, so to speak.
Yeah.
I don't know if that put a battery in their back to be even more angry. I don't know.
I don't think that's too far off. It might have put a battery. I can see a battery. I can see a slight battery.
My thing with this is, I will tell you what this Trump presidency has done is made people show their true colors, whether they're white, black, Hispanic, Chinese, Korean, whatever, by their alliance. Because you have some people who say they're for the culture,
Mm-hmm.
but their alliance doesn't lie with the culture, so to speak. You understand what I'm saying? So like you have people that say they're for the culture, but they don't understand or necessarily ride or agree with certain things that the culture is standing for. For example, the whole Black Lives Matter thing. Now,
Yeah.
if you
Yep.
agree with the organization itself, I understand that there is some things with that organization. I understand why people weren't, you know what I'm saying, down with that. But as far as the term itself,
Yeah.
if you were making up excuses for the term and not recognizing what it actually means, and you are somebody that would consider yourself part of the culture as a white rapper, then yeah, I can. That's false flagging, so to speak. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's just weird. Certain people that come into the culture who aren't really the culture or don't really want to understand. It's kind of like a high and by phase. It's like
Yeah.
you're here for the moment and then you move on, and it was, you know what I'm saying, a second thought. So I don't know, man. We can go on and on about this, but
Title kind of
because
threw me
there's-
off a little bit, man.
yeah, it's weird, but
Then more make this make sense, man. With the angry
Well,
rappers,
first of all,
man.
who are all these angry white
sense.
rappers? You know, other than Eminem talk about how much he hates his mom and putting his girlfriend in the trunk, you know, that wasn't something that caught on. All of a sudden, there was all these white rappers talking about domestic abuse and this, that, and the third. Like, I mean, there was a little bit of wife beater music that tried to come out after that, but not a. I mean, it didn't become such a trend to where like it was just like, you know, when you think about the white rappers that came after that, or even the ones that are popping now, when you talk about Mac Miller or not Logic, I forget sometimes. You know, maybe Machine Gun Kelly was considered a little angry. I don't know, but you know, I just the whole thing trying to tie it to Trump's white rage is just such a stretch and such a real weird kind of way to conflate different issues that really have nothing to do with each other.
It gives you a reach vibe. It gives you a reach vibe for sure.
If anything, I mean, it's got us talking about it, but like, you know, if anything like that, I mean, maybe or this professor, I don't know if it was a he or she. I didn't really listen to the name like that. Like they're saying like, oh, since maybe they should have been more specific, since Eminem, you know, came out against Donald Trump.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of these, you know, angry white dudes that thought that he was down with them, you know, the dudes that drink Monster Energy drinks and take Call of Duty way too serious and yell at their girlfriends at the mall and like that, you know, Eminem, they thought they had a hero and somebody that they could relate with.
But think about it, Eminem has been getting that president.
Comes out against Trump, and that was probably something that really bothered them. You know, I mean,
he's been getting president since Bush, though.
I think that's where this person was trying to take it. You know, so as far as the angry white man rap, I mean, like I said, I can only really name one angry white man rapper, and it's Eminem, and his popularity doesn't come from him being so much angry as it does him being white. And the thing is, that can't be all of it, because he has the other white rappers that came after him did enjoy that same, you know, if it was just about being white, then, you know, Bubba Sparks would have sold 5 million or 6 million.
Hey, no,
you know,
no Bubba Sparks slander out here, because
no, I'm not
Bubba Sparks has some heat.
His second album, Deliverance,
there we go,
is one of the most slept on records of all time. You know, when you really want to, if we were going to break that down, we can do that another time. But I'm just saying that, like, to say that angry white man rappers was never a trend. It was one guy, and that one guy still enjoys a certain level of success and privilege.
Terry, what were you saying about the president?
Except for this year, like they did nominate Eminem for a Grammy, and I thought, like, you know, they usually nominate Eminem for a Grammy no matter what he puts out, and that was something.
Yeah, what I was saying, president-wise, Eminem has always slighted the president. You know what I'm saying? So as far as being the angry white rapper, I mean, unless they're specifically targeting the hip hop cast that Lone mentioned, who's riding around bumping that shit? You know what I'm saying?
It's not mainstream, right? But it does exist, and it is a genre of sorts, and it is the country hop, the white version of country hip hop, let's just call it country rap, if you will. And it's there. It is there. There are people there. There are people that are from Indiana that do it. I've seen a handful of them that are hilarious. But
we've laughed at a lot of them.
I think that one of the biggest things, here's the difference, is we did see a lot of backlash politically and from the right-wing media this time around when Eminem criticized Trump as opposed to when he criticized Bush. I think it was a little bit more prevalent because things do seem to be a little bit more quote unquote divided, if you will. At least it seems that way, right? It's seemingly that way, even though it always has been. So maybe that's what they're referencing, but Naughty Pie made a great point. The wave now is sad white rappers. It's not angry white rappers. So it's weird that's it's not even like there are a ton of like angry ones that even come to mind. Like when I think of angry white rappers, I just think of angry rappers, and there are a lot of angry rappers
across the board. The board.
But,
I think I think everybody made some good points, man. It's just that you see that topic on an article, it's like, where are we going with this? It kind of threw me for a loop. So that's why I figured we, give it some discussion, because you don't see that one too often. I don't know if angry white rappers as it relates to the president, you don't see that too often. So I wish I knew who wrote it, like Lone said, but they kept it staff. So maybe it'll reveal itself down the road at some point. Who knows?
Is there anything? It's like a trend now. Yeah. Trying to see how many buttons people can put. I mean, I don't know if y'all have been in any of these comment sections whenever the news posts anything.
Yeah. You got to realize that I make a lot of these type of videos.
Yeah, when they put something black or white in the title, and you just look through the post. Like, for example, the guy in Proud Boys was recently arrested, I believe, for burning a Black Lives Matter flag.
Yep.
And I decided to go down that rabbit hole today in a news article just to see what people saying.
What you see?
And I mean, it's just a bunch of ignorance. It's ignorance all day long, and that's what's going to be on all these posts where they specifically point at white or black in this Trump day and age. Because whether Biden is taking presidency when the 20th comes or not, we're still living in the same time. You know what I'm saying? There's not going to be a switch that turns off as soon as he takes the oath, just like COVID didn't go away at the strike of midnight 2021. It's all this shit is carryover, and it's going to be here for a while.
I'm with you 100%. Go ahead, Lon.
Just gonna real quick, I'll pull it up maybe in the post show, but like we definitely get comments whenever we talk about anything that's kind of sensitive.
Oh yeah.
Like, I mean, we get these YouTube comments. Like I'll pull one up. I don't think I've showed you guys the comments on this one, but the one where we did about Candace Owens calling Cardi B illiterate and Cardi responds, tons of comments on that. The one about Ben Shapiro, and him, I don't even remember what it was, but like tons of comments just about, and they're obviously not hip hop people, but the comment sections on those are just...
We appreciate the views, though.
Definitely do. And
I remember when the one with Candace Owens, there were all these 65-year-old MAGA moms who were like commenting. I was like, how did these people? It's just like they look for things. They look for the keyword Candace Owens and then jumped in to defend her.
Yep.
For MAGAdom. I don't know. It was just a real weird.
I like MAGAdom.
All of a sudden we had all these people who we'd never seen before, who had never commented on anything, who just jumped in to defend Candace Owens. So it was real weird.
Yeah.
We have to definitely look at some of those some comments.
Milk and Ham Boy.
Oh
his
my
background
God!
wasn't squeaky clean. Well, his family's background wasn't squeaky clean, and he had some supporters in our chat.
Man, they tried to. We were roasted like ever on that one because it was real out there. Roasted like ever. Is there anything else that I forgot before we get out of here? I know Jay Moore got to talk to the people. Did I forget anything?
I think we're good.
All right. So on that note, we're gonna go ahead.
Happy New Year.
Get out of here. Happy New Year to everybody. Remember, find the New Old Heads Network on YouTube. Subscribe. We got a goal. We're trying to get there. Bring somebody back to Twitch next time you come. And if you stick around for the post show, we might be giving out some free subs. Just to let y'all know what's popping. I did sign up for a subscription through my Amazon Prime. It is very easy. So if you've been out there shopping and giving that bread away to Amazon, you might as well come rock with your people for free and become a subscriber. So we really appreciate you. Bringing down the band as always is the hub. Make sure you follow that everywhere you can find it. Patreon as well for us. And we really appreciate all the support. Hope y'all can really rock with us throughout the new year. And we'll see y'all next week. Peace.
In a minute.